Hello and welcome to the podcast. Right, we've got a brilliant guest lined up for today. I've got the one and only Jacob Littorin, who is a unique guy in the property world, bearing in mind that he doesn't actually live in the UK at the moment and isn't actually an estate agent, but has done everything to get lined up for being an estate agent in the UK. Has got a really fantastic story, and is doing some brilliant stuff, which is absolutely going to dig in today in a massive, massive way. Jacob, thank you for coming on, buddy.
Yes, this is my first podcast, Chris. Thank you for having me. This is amazing.
It's like a little box, tick in the box. You have arrived. You've got your first
Yeah,
podcast under your
finally.
belt. So,
I'm here
uh,
with you and I love your podcast.
oh, well, thank you very much. Very kind of you to say. I'll give you that 20 quid later on after the show. So let's talk about your background first of all, because normally at this stage, I'd say to people, how did you get into a estate agency? And they go, I've done it since I was 18 years old, etc., etc. But you are a chap living over in Sweden who now is aspiring to become an Islington estate agent. So fill in the gaps. How did that journey even begin?
So a long time ago, I was playing Minecraft with my friends and we were building a big city together because we liked the city environment and tall buildings, even like metro and buses and just shops, supermarkets, everything. We built it in Minecraft, and that's where my love for the city kind of began. Um, and we traveled a lot to London, and we ended up building more London-style cities in Minecraft. So that's where my love for the city environment like was formed. And then I realized that I really like to build more attractive places. I didn't just like to build a city. I wanted to build something attractive, something that would feel good to someone, if that was a house or a city square, for instance. So my love for houses and then that kind of environment just formed right there and then. And then I realized I really liked customer service. I like helping people, putting a smile on someone's face when they have achieved something, and I've helped them to achieve that. That's amazing. Um, so it was. There's a big real estate agent in the USA. He's called Ryan Serhant, and he has a course that launched in 2019 about real estate, how you can be a great real estate agent. I took that course and I realized that, wow, this is everything I want to do. I want to have a career where there's no ceiling. I want to be able to help people. I want to run around town and go to meetings and go into buildings and do the marketing and do the viewings and do the work to get someone moved to sell their home for the highest price and with the smoothest process. That's what I want to do. I realized that right there and then in 2019 that I wanted to become a real estate agent.
And why London and why Islington?
London is for me the place to be for a career. We have traveled, like I have traveled there a lot with my friends. It started in 2013 and then 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, every year, literally until the pandemic, I've been in London, and my love for the city just grew for every visit. Then I studied there for one term at UCL in the autumn of 2021. And that's when I got more in contact with the estate agency scene in the city. I visited Keller Williams. I literally walked into their office and I tried to see if there was someone I could talk to. So I met the director and had a conversation with him, and he invited me to their market center day in Mayfair in London. And I attended it, and I sat there and I studied and I learned. I listened to all the coaches. And then I was invited to their Christmas party. And from there, I just realized that, okay, I want to be in London. I love this city a lot. And I really like this self-employed model in the UK. That's what I want to do.
I love that.
Um,
And so let's talk about personal branding in the estate agency world. So I was reading a post from Christopher Watkins this morning saying that when you're thinking about going self-employed, spend, half an hour a day starting to build your personal brand before you sort of take the leap so you get a little bit of a soft landing. Now you've kind of taken that and sort of injected steroids into it and some, I would say, because your personal brand is whopping. And I was doing some research before the show today. And so first thing I did, went onto Google, type in estate agent Islington, and I'll give you one guess who came up second only to Savills, and that was yourself. So your picture was on there repeatedly times. And
Amazing.
if
Yes.
I typed in Jacob, I mean, it was like a sea of purple. I mean, literally, I think there was probably about 90 boxes in a row that were all about Islington, property, market, estate agency. So you've taken that and run with it. So talk me through how that began and how that kind of grows from where you are today.
Yeah, and you know what? That makes me happy to see that success on Google search. Then just everything is just so much worth it. Everything I do online. Um, and Islington, why I choose that area is because it's a very good area to start in. I've been exploring the area a lot, and when I'm in Islington, I meet people on the street. Like I meet homeowners in their front yard, and I have a conversation with them. So the area is very inviting to become an agent in. And I just like it too. It's very nice. You have the Regent's Canal. So I love Islington a lot, and that's why I choose it. But I understood that I needed to be visible online as well as in real life. So I created my website. Now it has been running for 2 years. I created my social media channels and streamlined them to be really about me and have the same handle across all platforms. So at Jacob Littorin. Um, and I knew that I needed to leverage qualifications and courses that I've done in order to build a profile of credibility, of transparency, and of like just that I know my stuff. So that I realized this is what I need to do, and then focus on Islington because I can't be everywhere. I gotta be somewhere.
Hmm. So we're doing some name dropping in this today's podcast because you mentioned Ryan Serhant already, and I was listening to Daniel Daggers of Netflix fame about a week or so ago, and one thing that he mentioned, which kind of really stuck with me, he talked about sort of building your digital footprint. He said, "Look, if you're not building your digital footprint online, everyone else is, and by the time you stick your head up onto your laptop, you'll think, oh my goodness, everyone's got Google. You know, they've got blogs, they've got videos, they've got content, and you're kind of catching up. So." It feels like you're sort of giving yourself the softest landing possible by setting up as much of that as you possibly can do before you launch. So when you do launch, you're kind of like, well, I've done, I'm like number one, number two on Google already. Thank you very much. Away we go.
Yeah, it's hard work to do these kind of online preparations, if you say so. The website itself, it's been running for 2 years now, and I'm not an SEO expert. SEO, search engine optimization, is a jungle, but I know that for it to rank high on Google, you have to keep it running for a long time, and then you need to update it with blogs and just update the website in general so that Google likes and can read it so that it ranks higher. And right now I'm so happy because if you Google as you did, and if you Google like personal agent Islington or Islington estate agent personal service, my website now ranks number one, and that makes me just like it's unbelievable. Like it's insane. So my website is something I need to keep updated, and it needs to look good. And it has been running like perfect is the enemy of good. So while my website has been running for the past 2 years, and you have been able to access it, I have had this fortunate opportunity to be able to update it and make it look really, really stunning and on brand as well for the past 2 years.
And did you have a strategy to be sort of all over the first page of Google? Did you look at kind of type in estate agent Islington, for example, and see where the top people sort of where that was kind of feeding from? And that was coming from LinkedIn, that was coming from Facebook, that's coming from a blog post they did sort of thing. And then think, I'll do the same with that. Is it more sort of just trial and error and just think, actually, I'm just going to do everything and put Islington and an estate agent in every sentence I do, and therefore that's going to rank higher organically? Or what was the sort of plan behind it?
The plan was to just be visible and to be good looking. Like the brand has to look good and I have to look good. As I said, SEO is a jungle. However, I've found that LinkedIn is crushing it on search engine on Google. Like especially LinkedIn articles and newsletters. And Ryan Serhant said it himself as well, that at Serhant, his brokerage right now, they're putting more emphasis on LinkedIn articles because they are crushing it. And I've been running now my Islington Property Market monthly newsletter for 1 year now on LinkedIn. And it is like just taking over Google, literally. And the great thing about LinkedIn newsletters is that people can subscribe to it. So I have 407 subscribers right now, and they hold me accountable to every month putting out a new Islington property market update to them on LinkedIn. And then I take that text and copy it and upload it to my blog on my website as well. So that I keep my website updated and LinkedIn and just put in more stuff to fill up the Google space even more.
Okay, you've just it's not often I get my pen out on podcasts, but I've just written out articles and underlined it on my piece of paper next to me because similar to yourself, I have a LinkedIn newsletter and I have a fairly decent subscribership to it, sort of thing. And I was doing that for more brand awareness. I didn't even think about the Google side of things in any way, shape, or form off the back of that. And so I probably need to start doing articles along with the newsletter as well. So thank you very much. You've given me even more work to do in my business as of as of the podcast. It's
Amazing.
all good stuff.
Yes. But I think it's important, and as we talk about this preparation now, I have this fortunate opportunity to prepare to be an agent, as I can't yet legally trade as an agent, but I can prepare. So I can make my website, I can make my newsletters, and just form them, shape them, so that when I do get to Islington, it is a newsletter full of value. Because it can be difficult to create from the outset, but you can make it better every month. You just have to do it. It doesn't have to be perfect the first month. Just continue shaping it. And then I can create templates for listing brochures, listing flyers, open house flyers, for instance. I have all of these things created on Canva. And then I have my Google Drive library, I call it, of knowledge, of estate agency knowledge. Because I've been learning a lot from a lot of people since 2019. But how can I remember these things, right? I mean, if I read a book today, how can I remember it tomorrow? And that's why I'm putting all this knowledge that I learn into my Google Drive library and make standard operating procedures from the pre-listing appointment, like that call you have with a homeowner, to the listing appointment, through marketing, through showings and negotiation, through having a sale agreed, through all the conveyancing to the completion, and then afterwards, what do you do afterwards? I have literally a set procedure for all of these processes, and that makes me feel good about getting to Islington.
I like that a lot, and there's probably a lot of estate agents listening into this who think, actually, I've been running my business for the last 5 years, and I actually have no processes in place. And you actually haven't sold a house yet in the UK, and you've got them all absolutely wrapped up, airtight by the sounds of it. So very, very much well done, you. So you segued me quite nicely there. So you talked about learning from the best, and one thing I'm always impressed about with yourself is you're always at. I mean, you're in the UK, you're over in the US, you're doing, it's always training, it's always learning. How was Ryan Serhart, first of all? I saw you met him last week or 2 weeks ago or so.
Yeah, so Ryan Serhant, he has a membership and sales training community called Sell It. It has been running since 2019, and I've been a member literally since it launched. So now 5 years I've been a member. And now, just over a week ago, I went to my first ever Sell It event in New York. They host these events every year, but now was my first time. Like, I was so happy, and I finally got to meet my idol, Ryan Serhant. But just very quick, right? Because it was a room with 300 people. Many people wanted to have a chat with him, but just very quick, he asked me where I was from Sweden, and he said nice trousers because I had purple trousers on me. And then I took a selfie. So it was very quick, but it felt so good. So good to finally meet him. And he has been a huge source of inspiration for me. And I learned a lot of good things about the work of being a real estate agent from him. And I think 3 takeaways from him, of everything that I've learned, is that, first of all, enthusiasm sells, right? Because the job isn't just to sell the property. The job is to sell the property for the most amount of money with the smoothest process for the client. So how do you do that? Well, through enthusiasm. As the agent, I have to transfer enthusiasm to the buyer. Like if you and we go and watch a rooftop terrace, for instance, in Islington, it's not just a rooftop terrace. Like, it's not just, here's the terrace, here's a city skyline view. No, like, it's got to be like, this is amazing, right? Look, you have your own rooftop terrace. You can sit here with your friends, enjoy a glass of wine, and enjoy just like the city and the lights in the evening. Isn't this amazing? You transfer this sort of enthusiasm to the buyer so that they are more enthusiastic about putting in a higher offer and putting in an offer even to begin with. And then for them to feel enthusiastic about following through the entire process from sale agreed to completion, it's just really big. And then the second takeaway from Ryan Serhant is get FKD, meaning that you are, as an agent, you are the CEO of your success going forward. So you need to have a structure for your day in order to drive your business and yourself and your career forward. FKD means finder, keeper, doer. So 1 hour in the morning, you do finder time, you put on your SEO hat, and you just prospect. Like you find new ways to grow the business through the finder time. Then during the keeper time, maybe half an hour, you do the budgeting for these things that you set out during your finder time. So you make sure that you're on track with the budget to not go over budget. And then the doer time is the rest of the day when you do all the work that you set out during the finder time and the keeper time, which is doing the letters, handing out the letters, door knocking, having all the conversations you need, the showings, the negotiations, etc. So that's how you divide your day for success. And then the last thing really is to follow up, follow through, and follow back. With everyone you ever meet, you gotta follow up with them, and then you gotta follow through with what you said you are going to do, and then you follow back with them to reconnect with them after you may have, for instance, completed a sale for a client. You follow back with them, for instance, on the 1 year anniversary of that sale.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. So do you think that's kind of the number one person you've taken advice from, or is there other people in the industry you look at and go, they've given me some really sort of valuable nuggets? And obviously, don't feel any pressure to say myself because obviously just because you're on the podcast.
I will say yours. I will say
I'll give you.
you are you have a, like, your book is amazing. Lots of great actionable strategies to become successful in the UK. I just love it. And Christopher Watkin, and so many people in the UK, because Brian Serhant, he's in America, right? But the sales skills that he practice, that he shares with everyone and in the Sellet community, they are globally, right? The way you communicate with a client is you do that everywhere. It's a global. It works the same everywhere. But he's been my inspiration literally since 2018 even, when I first started to watch his blogs.
Well, there's worse people in the world to look up to, so I'd say he's a very good role model to have. So, yeah, you could have picked far worse in that situation. So, I think that's a very solid choice. So, talk me through how you stay up to date then, because obviously you're a distance away from Islington. You're probably 1,000 miles or whatever the distance is away from Islington at any time. How do you stay up to date with kind of the trends and what's going on? Obviously, you're writing things like property blogs and articles you mentioned, but you're 1,000 miles away. So, how do you sort of stay in the loop about sort of what's going on and kind of keep your finger on the pulse effectively?
Yeah, so every month I do my Islington property market update, where I take in statistics from Rightmove. How many properties were listed, how many properties were sold, etc. And then I also do the national statistics, so I keep me up to date on that. But my biggest secret, and you've seen this, is my Islington properties map. Because as a great agent, an amazing estate agent, you have to be an information machine. So if I walk around in Islington and a homeowner stops me and asks me for information, it's amazing if I can tell them that information right there and then, instead of just saying, well, you know what, I don't know, but I'm going to check it out. Like, in order to build yourself as a credible agent, you have to know your stuff. So there are a lot of prop tech tools out there, for instance, that gives you a lot of data. And that's amazing for automation processes, for instance. But how do you study and learn your market so that you can know the numbers, just by in your head? Like, so what I do is that I have a Google My Maps. In Google, you can create your own maps where you can mark different areas with a pinpoint. So I receive on Rightmove, I receive all new listings that are put out on Rightmove. I take these listings and I put them onto the map, and I mark them. So this house is now for sale, and this house is now for sale. And then I track these listings. So I go in and I see, okay, were they reduced, were they sold, or withdrawn? So I have this big map with lots of layers: for sale layer, reduced layer, sold layer, and withdrawn layer. And then I just move these pins around the different layers. Okay, this is now listed. Okay, this one now sold. I put it in this layer, and this one was now withdrawn. And this makes a great prospecting tool, because I now have a map where I can see where there are properties that were withdrawn or that were reduced or have been on the market for a very, very long time. So I can see on my map where I should go and door knock. But most importantly, I learn the market and I know what was listed, what was reduced, what was withdrawn. And I get a better sense of the numbers of what's the average asking prices, or what are literally the usual service charges or ground rents for different type of properties in Islington. This map is big, really big. And I wish I could show you a picture right now, but it's my
Oh,
biggest secret.
as a third party, I've seen Jacob's map, and it is a very impressive one to say the least. Like you've got a lot of detail in there to say the least. So it's everything from for sale, sold, withdrawn, price reductions, right the way through, all layered up in the map sort of thing. So yeah, it's quite a sight to be seen. But you're absolutely right. If you're walking down the street and someone stopped you and said, "What's for sale in local area? What's selling the local area? What's the average square footage at the moment?" You've literally got it there in your hand and go, "Well, there you go. That's what we're doing at the moment. That's kind of what's going
Yeah.
on, sort of thing." So.
That's amazing. And just to add one more thing, I've expanded the map since you last saw it. I've now added different farming areas, so to say. So as you say in your book, you have to divide your entire town where you're active into farming areas, and then strategically go to these areas and hand out letters, and rotating every 4 or 5 weeks or so. So I've done that. I've divided Islington into areas, and from week 1 to 4, Monday through to Friday, I have different areas to systematically approach on week 1, Monday, week 1, Friday, week 2, Thursday, and know where to go.
Yeah,
This is
awesome.
big as well.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. So I hear also on some congratulations are in order. I hear you may have had a recent qualification come through your front.
Yes,
So
finally.
talk us through that. What have you done?
So I love property mark and I love property mark qualifications. I finally, after lots of hard studying, like I achieved my property mark level 3 award in the sale of residential property. And this is big. I'm now a member of the NAEA property mark before I'm even an estate agent. I'm now a member of this big professional body, and that means the world to me. Knowledge is everything. Studying and then leveraging what you've studied so that you build your personal brand as a credible person, as a transparent person is big. It's huge.
And do you think that's a becoming more and more important in the estate agency world to have that sort of qualification and that sort of board behind you to say that I am a genuine person, I've passed my exams, I know my stuff, and I'm here to sell your property the best thing possible? Because I know historically the estate agency world's been very light, should we say, on that side of things.
Yeah, I mean, you build your story. You sat through the exams, you studied 800 pages. Like this is part of your story as an agent, as a person. And I think that a homeowner can appreciate that, but most importantly, you have to leverage all of these qualifications and courses that you've done. You got to leverage them, make them visible. So on my website, I have all of my courses listed, including the property mark qualifications. I have them listed as here's what I've achieved in order to provide a great service to you.
I love that. So, big question. What's next? What's on the horizon? Because obviously you've got to the stage now where website's live, you missed the branding, you're all, the purple is everywhere sort of thing around Islington. You're qualified now. What's the next step with regard to sort of getting rocking and rolling in the UK?
Getting to Islington, I need to, I want to start as soon as possible. I'm getting a visa and I'm hopefully joining a team at a self-employed brokerage where I can get my visa through this agent. And I really hope that that will be successful, because then I can go and work in Islington and
Oh,
launch. And I'll have a big launch party, and everyone is invited. And we'll talk about this. It's going to be amazing.
well, I will be there, front center, front of the queue, bottle of champagne in hand, and that'll be just for me. So, it goes without saying, Jacob, thank you for coming on. You've been absolutely brilliant guest today, mate, and we all wish you the absolute best of luck. We're all behind you 110% on that sort of things. I mean, you're absolutely bossing it before you've even sold a house. So, very well done, mate. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much, Chris. My first podcast done, and it was a great one. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All done.
I
Easy as
hope
that.
that